It's almost like I should have something scripted, eh?
Yeah.
No, fuck that. Buenos dias. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Poets Garden podcast. I am still James.
Yeah, Geordie again.
You're still Geordie, right?
Geordie again.
You were Geordie before, and you still are Geordie.
I'm Geordie again.
We had a pretty good episode this episode. This is the one where Mr. John Welsh was here.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was all like talking Spanish and shit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's
He had
crazy,
good
remember?
Spanish song, too.
He said that really sexy sounding thing. Remember that? Fuck's sakes. Geordie just hit me. That was assault, but I'm okay with it because we're friends.
We gotta get...
Sometimes we do this to each other. Sometimes I can't hit a bullseye, and Geordie has to slap me in the fucking face. So I'll hit a... Remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
That
We'll
was
talk
amazing.
about that on another episode.
That was an amazing day.
Fuck you. I love this guy. Geordie is my brother. We've been
He's
friends.
angry at me right now.
We've been friends for a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
That was actually really good, Geordie. I really appreciate that.
Okay.
how
That was
are
not
you doing?
abuse.
You're doing good?
I'm okay.
You feel better?
Yeah. Do you?
I do, actually. That was great. I needed that little jolt of energy, you know,
Okay.
a little bit of adrenaline.
Yeah, let's go.
Because this podcasting business, it's really hard to get through unless you have that burst of adrenaline. You know,
Sometimes.
just push.
Yeah.
Push on through. Because
Nice
words are hard.
poke
right?
in the belly, you know?
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
What was this episode about? Oh, yeah, Mr. John Welsh came out to visit us today, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that was really cool. John is a world artist. He sings and talks in Spanish.
Yeah.
Wonder which one's harder. Probably singing, I imagine, right?
I don't know, man.
You got to get that shit rhythmic and shit. You know what I'm
His
saying?
song he sings really fast.
Really
so
fast. It's really cool.
Whoa.
Even if you don't speak Spanish, I recommend checking out the song at the end of the episode.
So
it's
cool,
really
man.
cool. It's like flowing. It's all rhythmic and shit. And he's like, "Babla sida bada wada sida wada bada wa." That's not even close to Spanish,
Yeah,
but that's okay.
that's the
It's
idea.
no
though.
bueno. It's no
It's better
bueno.
than that. So,
It's way better than that. So yeah, definitely stick around. Also, John tells us a pretty funny story in the second half of this episode. So something about karate.
much to the chagrin of his brother.
Yeah,
So,
sorry, Chris. You're going to
Chris.
hear a lot of sorry, Chris, in this episode, too.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. This is John Welsh on the Poets Garden podcast. Anyway, we have a very special guest today.
So nervous.
This is, yeah?
Well,
You're okay?
look who's here.
Well, yeah, obviously. This always happens to both of us when we have a seasoned veteran here. Our guest today is Mr. John Welsh. John has had quite the career already and experiences. Some of his accomplishments have been going to number 2 on the iTunes World Music Chart in Canada with his album. I can't pronounce it, John. How do you say it?
Vámonos, mi chica.
Vámonos, mi chica. The whole album, number 2, Canadian iTunes music charts. That's quite impressive. He also had a viral video across Mexico for the song Sayalita. Amazing song. Check it out. It's on YouTube, Spotify. I think you're pretty close to 1 million streams on that song.
It's getting
now,
up
too.
there, yeah.
Yeah,
It's getting
that's
close.
huge, man. Also, you've won Fraser Valley Music Awards. You were nominated for a West Coast Music Award. You won the Civil Radio Songwriters Competition, performed at the Abbotsford Entertainment Center. Dude, what else? Like, there's so much.
Headlining various festivals.
Right, yes, yep.
Including the Mission Folk Fest. That was a great one for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, touring was a big highlight for sure. Doing the festival stuff was definitely a highlight.
I bet, right? Yeah, you played the Surrey Fusion Festival, and didn't you open, was it for Walk Off the Earth there?
That's correct.
That's
yeah.
right, yes. I remember hearing that. That's phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. And then Mission Folk Fest, you were the headliner.
That's correct.
I think that was
on
a
the Friday night.
The Friday night, right? Yeah, I came, I saw that, man. That was so epic because that's like my favorite festival. And I remember us going there.
Yes.
Like before, we had so many great times there. To see you up there headline was just holy shit. I think I have a little video of that somewhere still. I filmed a bit. Anyway, yeah, awesome, man. And you've been doing festivals. You've been driving. Was it up to Whistler? You did one up there, I think.
Yeah, Squamish. Did
Squamish, right?
Squamish quite a bit.
Yeah.
And all over as far north as Kispiox.
Wow.
Kispiox Music Festival.
Cool. Yeah.
And like I said, as far south as Mexico City or with the full band Tijuana, Mexico.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah. Crazy, man. Very cool. Well, super happy to have you here. Full disclaimer, me and John do know each other kind of. Yeah, I was looking for some crack. I was just walking down the street and this nice guy came up to me and said, "Man, you shouldn't do crack." And I was like, "Okay, you want to be on my podcast?" Turns out he's a songwriter. No, we go way back. We've known each other for years. I used to play drums for you back in the day. John was actually very instrumental in me developing my own skills as a songwriter and guitar player. For instance, the rhythm, man, like your rhythm on acoustic guitar got so ingrained in my head because I was playing drums, right? So I'd have a monitor.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, that's what I wanted. I would tell Salmon, like, I want more guitar. I want that rhythm, right? And I would just get so in tune trying to match your rhythms. And so when I started playing guitar and playing ukulele after that, that definitely was huge in me developing as an artist. So I've always appreciated that about you. So much love. Much
Can you
respect.
update your bio to say that?
I
Give me credit
totally
for
will.
that.
I totally will. I should. I will definitely give you credit. Geordie, you didn't really do much for my song. I'm just kidding. No. Same for you, Geordie. Obviously, Geordie. I was joking, man. You've done so much. Like I say, I would write a song and then I would throw in some pretty chord and I'd be like, "Oh, this is a Geordie chord. Oh, he's gonna love this." And so I would do that constantly. Yeah. So you're right there too, man. Fist bump me.
Oh,
I just got all awkward and shit. Thought I was mad at you.
shucks.
Anyway, John, so oh yeah, we have a guest, Jordy.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
considering the name of the podcast is named after, a project you guys did together, and the most
right.
popular song of that project.
That's
Yes.
He might have something. It might have contributed something.
Possibly
to
a
your music
little
influence.
bit. A little
The
bit.
best part is we've never done an actual good recording of that song.
Well, no, because your version's a great recording of it, man.
It's like,
It's awesome. It's fine.
Anyhow.
Self-critical,
Sorry.
but I
Yep.
get it. I am too. Anywho, John, so you're here today. You're passing through because you're from the interior here in BC, or is that the interior?
Yeah, the
Okanagan?
interior, Okanagan. Yeah.
Okanagan, right? And you are playing a show in New West tonight.
That's right.
July 27th. Obviously, this is going to air after that, but that's cool. You're still playing shows. So, like, what else do you have on the go right now?
So I got well tonight we're playing at Uptown Live, which is I'm doing a duo show with my bandmate Alan Moreno, and he's going to be on an instrument called the Colombian Tiple.
Oh,
So yeah, we're going to be doing mostly Spanish music in Spanish.
yeah. Can you actually just give me a little bit of Spanish right now? Just say something cool.
Well, ¿qué quieres que yo te lo diga? Pues te puedo contar de mis proyectos, de mi música, todo eso.
Oh, wow.
¿Por qué?
That is sexy. That is sexy as hell. Now, let's just say I'm a beautiful, voluptuous woman, like with a really nice,
Curvature.
I don't have that creative of an imagination.
Okay. Jordy, you stand up. You stand up.
What are we talking about here?
I don't know, man.
What did you
I took
say
it too
anyway,
far. I
in
took it too
English?
far, and then I felt like, okay, if I keep pushing this, it's going to make people uncomfortable. But then I got uncomfortable because that's what
Well,
happened.
what did you say?
Oh, I said, what do you want me to say to you? Do you want me to talk about my projects, my music?
Oh, actually, yeah. No, that's a great idea. How about that? Why don't you let's talk about the music that you have coming up because you just put out a new single called "The Sun
Yes,
Is Rising," which is
that's
phenomenal. You've got some like African singers on there, I believe.
That's right. So we have we collaborated with a Rwandan artist, and his name's Ezra Kwazira, and he's actually based partly in Vancouver and partly in Rwanda. He was in Rwanda at the time we were recording, so we did the sessions over Zoom.
Wow.
And so he recorded backing vocals on it. You can kind of hear sort of his style in the background there.
Yeah.
And we also had Yoro Nkuzi, who's a percussionist, and he was playing percussion on the album. He's originally from Benin, West Africa, but he's based in Vancouver now too. And so
Very cool.
he's been doing gigs with the band too. So
Yeah.
and he adds that one. He wasn't doing background vocals on, but he did provide background vocals with my brothers on the other 4 tracks that we're releasing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Is that your brother Dave or Chris?
both of them.
Oh, both of them are doing that. Oh, that's awesome. Man.
Yeah.
Very cool. Nice.
Yeah, so that was a fun session we did with Yoro. And we got Alan, the guy I'm playing with tonight, who's in the band, he's also a producer.
Oh,
so
okay.
he recorded because Tyler, who was the producer for the new EP, he was in Montreal at the time. So Alan recorded the backing vocals for us and then sent them over. So we did that in a studio.
Yeah.
Yoro has a studio in Vancouver.
Very cool. That's so awesome, man, that you can do this nowadays, eh? Like,
Yeah, totally.
yeah, plus I know like you've written a lot of songs that kind of had that flair like in the past, like even Leave It for Another
Yeah,
Day,
yeah.
you know? It's just this really fun. That's what I love about your stuff, man. It's so fun. I remember when I wrote that little like a review for your EP, like the On the Road EP, you know? And I wrote something, you know, like this is the perfect road trip album, you know, keep the fun time, whatever. The main theme I'm getting here is that I think people probably aren't likely to slit their wrists while they're listening to John Welsh. That's what I'm trying to say. And I hope that that's a huge compliment for you, because it is. It's such uplifting music, and it always has been. And I love how you've kept that theme going.
Yeah, that song was kind of inspired because I started listening to a lot of Trinidadian soca music.
Okay.
And so wanted to, when I was starting to write for the new EP, I wanted to kind of do something that was a tribute to that style of music, which is, of course, very influenced by West African sounds and that. So, you know, in that kind of style. So, and then having, you know, had a band member that was West African Courage, which we can definitely talk about, big
yes,
part of the band.
Definitely.
Wanted to kind of keep some of that flair in the project, and there are some unreleased tracks that we did with him that will also be released as well.
Wow. Oh, dude, that's so cool. That's another thing I forgot to say. Life na Jeje.
Yes.
I think I shared that to you. I was sharing that around to people. Like, I absolutely love it, man. I love the vibe, the energy, the video too.
Yes.
Like you've got that who's that guy coming through? Like he's wearing the full headdress.
Yes. His name's, I think it's Arnie. Arnie is his name.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, just the way he's dancing, that really makes it. I mean, all you guys are awesome in it, but just the way he's doing that, I absolutely love that song too. Such a good vibe. I think we're just gonna take a short little break here, which means Geordie, would you like to ask because the interview is going pretty good, right? We've had some good moments.
I'd say so.
Good energy. So Geordie, why don't you try and destroy that with a nice dry question?
Well, I just did by coughing too, so
That's fine. I'll take that out in post.
What's your favorite smell?
Okay.
Fuck.
Jeez. Oh,
What the fuck? What the Well, you got to answer it now.
There's so many jokes I could throw in
I
there.
know, right?
I
Explicit content warning. It's totally fine.
do love the smell of like a good cannabis joint, like at a concert,
yeah,
or just
yeah.
like you're walking by on a summer evening and you just smell that like little bit of whiff in the air, which is just like it's got feel good vibes.
100% with you there.
Yes, yes.
The smell
I'm all
from far
for that.
away, even like just the waft. Like, oh man, it's epic.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like that, but I'm
I'm a huge
definitely
fan
one of
too.
those.
I don't blaze anymore, but I still love the smell.
It's almost nostalgic, you know?
Yeah,
totally. Oh yes. Oh yeah, from all those early days.
It's
I mean,
definitely nostalgic for all of us.
yes.
And just any concert you've ever been to, you know, it reminds you of all that kind of
Jericho
feeling,
Beach.
and
That's what it does for me, man. Jericho
Beach.
Yeah, and the Thorn Tree Cafe.
Yeah.
That's what it brings me back to.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was walking my dogs the other day, and I smelled like just this cloud of like beautiful smelling weed.
Yeah.
And I look, and there's this old like 70-year-old woman just popping on her joint, looking around. She's got her little dog sitting on her porch, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, in some ways the world is a much better place now. I'm like, it made me happy to know someone was doing what they loved, right?
Yeah,
it was a
totally.
work night for me, but she was having fun.
Yeah, man. That's all. That's
so
the most
cool.
important thing. Yeah.
Thank you
All
for
right.
not hating
Great
my
question. Great
That
question.
was good, Jordy. Sorry, I lost faith like instantly when you said it, but it was actually good. Let's take a short break and we'll hear from our sponsor, the Penny, here in Mission, BC.
James here. I'm outside the Penny again. Gonna make another ad today. Unfortunately, I gotta film this one by myself because apparently I embarrass people that come along and film for me. I don't know what that's about. Let's do this. Wow, look at this place. It's so cool. Hey, how's it going? Thank you. I just grew it. It's a pretty cool place. It's my first time in here. Yeah. That's amazing. You guys got really good merch. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Some guy on the street was like handing out these business cards from a podcast, and then he told me to come in here. He said you guys have the greatest like gluten-free brownies. So
Yeah, we have
yeah,
one right there.
perfect. I'll try one of those. That'd be great. Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of a weirdo, but I don't know. Don't know what he's trying to do.
Do you?
Perfect. Thank you so much for the brownie. All right, let's go. See ya. We did it. Did it again. Don't need you, Geordie. Oh, man. That was close.
And we're back. Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hi.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah, had a good break. That was a pretty cool ad from the Penny Coffee Shop, hey? So glad that they sponsor us. Yeah. Anywho, yeah, John, I was actually thinking while I was out there, do you have any past music projects you want to talk about?
Well, there is one that was definitely had a lot of influence on my life. I had a musical project with my brother Chris.
Oh, do tell.
And he's fairly well known to the three of us here. In fact, we were all in high school together.
That is correct. Yep. Yes. Yeah.
And in bands.
Yeah, we've all been in bands
We've
with
all
Chris.
played with Chris. That's right. Chris, shout out, buddy. Love you.
Yeah. So my brother Christopher Welsh, very talented guy musically, great vocals, creative songwriting, and bass guitar, solid bass.
Yeah.
So we actually, after I finished university, we were in some Battle of the Bands competitions. And were you playing drums in one of those?
Yeah, I think I did the Finnegan's show.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, at the old Finnegan's in Abbotsford there.
And that we got pretty high up in that before. Now the band was called like Middle Eight or something at the time, and then afterwards we kept trying to come up with band names. And after university, Chris and I decided to try and really do this music thing and write. And people were just referring to us around town as the Welsh Brothers. You know, all the Welsh Brothers are going to play here, and so we decided to just go as the Welsh Brothers, him on bass, me on acoustic with doing vocals. And, you know, what could possibly go wrong with starting a band with a contentious sibling and a lot of alcohol involved on both sides?
Wait, was your band called Oasis? Oh, no, sorry.
It was the sequel. We tried really hard to recreate it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we had a lot of I was writing tunes and Chris was kind of helping me with the creative process of those, and we released our first album, The Welsh Brothers, with Tyler Johnson actually recorded. That was one of his first projects.
Right. Yeah.
And so we did that in his studio in Abbotsford, and that had things like Leave It for Another Day, and it was more of a rock. We were trying to be a rock band at that time, and we had the odd like reggae tune, but it was mostly rock, and because rock was all what was on the radio at the time.
Right. Yeah,
so you want to get on the Fox, you got to do rock. So we were trying to be a rock band, and we actually had quite a good following locally.
Yeah.
But what we noticed was more and more that towards the end of the gigs, we would sometimes throw out the odd Spanish or reggae song, and that was what would get people up dancing.
Right. Yeah.
And so we started to transition from rock and started to do more of this kind of like world rock kind of hybrid thing. And where we're bringing in the Spanish, we're bringing in the reggae stuff, and that kind of expanded. It was more unique at the time, and that sort of expanded things.
Yeah.
Chris and I had a lot of arguments over the creative sort of process and where things were going, which direction.
Yeah.
I was taking us more towards Bob Marley and the Gypsy Kings. He wanted to take us more towards Coldplay. He was more of an indie rock guy.
Right. Yeah.
So in terms of the creative control, we definitely weren't seeing eye to eye. And we parted ways at one fateful gig at the Yorkshire Rose when he left the stage. And so I ended up going solo as John Welsh. But that band was a lot of fun. We did it. Nate and Judy were involved. There was a lot of musicians involved over the years. Steph, the cellist, that I still play with every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
And so a lot of great things came out of that. We that really actually helped me kind of find the sound and the genre that I use now.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool. Yeah. And yeah, when it comes back to that creative differences, I've been in that situation too, right? It's a very tough thing to deal with, and I imagine it's probably even tougher when it is family, right? Like, and Chris too, being such a creative guy, like amazing bass player. Like,
yeah,
I remember some of the songs, listening to his bass lines, because I'm always trying to be tight with the bass, like when I'm playing drums. And I remember so many times being like, "Oh, like you chose to do those notes."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dude," like I would tell him all the time, man. Like, I'm telling you right now, Chris, you're awesome. But yeah, no, I totally get that with the creative differences, and especially you're the front man, right? You're the one taking the lead on everything. So I mean, yeah, that's just the way it is, right? You got to go with your gut and do what you want to do and stay true to yourself as an artist. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Chris, I still involve him. I still consult with him for when I'm on every album that I've done. I've had Chris involved. He wrote the first verse on the song "On the Road."
Oh yeah,
He wrote a verse of the Newfoundland song. He's actually helped me with this. My Son Is Rising helped me come up with the melody for the verse.
Cool. Yeah.
And so I still run things by him because he's got such a naturally creative mind. And who knows where he might have gone had I not broken his knuckles on the field.
Oh, I think I remember this, but you know what? We might have to hear this story, Jordy.
You don't even need to ask a random question. You're like, what the fuck happened to Chris's broken knuckle?
I got to hear this.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
We got to paint the scene here. This is early 1990s on Jackson Elementary School field.
Okay.
Chris and I are 18 months apart, so 2 years. So he's the same age as you guys.
Yeah.
Chris is 9 and I'm 11. And I was a total nerd like bookworm. And I'd gotten this book about karate moves that was from the 1960s. And it was a giant book with big black and white pictures.
Awesome.
And because there's no YouTube videos, it showed us step by step, frame by frame, on how to properly do a karate kick. So I'm in my room with my Nintendo glasses and I'm reading. Okay, and for the record, I'm not sure that a book and pictures are the best way to learn a martial art.
Probably not.
Or to safely perform it. And because it's from the 1960s, there's no disclaimers. Like, do not use these on human beings. And they showed different people breaking boards, right? And because I didn't have a board, one day we were in the school field and I said, hey, Chris, do you want to help me practice this karate kick? And so I got Chris to do this. And then I roundhoused him. With a shoe on, which I probably shouldn't have had. And he actually took it pretty well, but he was like, ow. And so he was like, oh man, my knuckles hurt. So after school, he went to my mom and he said, John broke my knuckles. And then I was like, no, I didn't. I just kicked them. And my mom, I was always the honest, good kid. And I'm like, we're just practicing karate, Mom, with this book I got from the library. I mean, I look like the good kid because I'm getting the books out. I'm the one reading. Right. Chris is the one lying about his broken knuckles. So they took him to the doctor and they were like, oh, we don't really, it's hard to tell because they're kind of swollen and that. And he was talking. So the doctor kind of sent him away. And years later, nobody believed him, right? Years later, he went back to the doctor. And you can very clearly see that there are like 4 knuckles broken, like a few on each side. Wow. And they're crushed in, right? And you could see even like his ability to form, he can play acoustic guitar, but he used it as an excuse for a long time. But I did actually break his knuckles. And whenever he talks to people, one of the first things he'll say is, I'll be like chatting with someone like my brother Chris, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Chris. John broke my knuckles." We're in our 40s now, and this can still happen.
That's I
So
always
the book was really spot on.
yeah.
It was.
That's a great book, actually. Yeah, we
It
should
was.
we should look for that.
That was the roundhouse kick. I'll find the reference.
Oh, man. Brutal.
I always knew that you had done that. I never knew the actual story.
He could have been one of the best guitar players in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, shit, man.
The next Jimmy Page, but only.
Oh, man.
So that would come up a lot in our arguments, especially when you threw in a lot of alcohol. I'm like, well, why don't you do your own project? Because you broke my fucking knuckles. You held me back, and he'd hold them up like this.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Jeez.
That is funny. Oh my God.
I didn't know this. That's amazing.
But he's a great guy,
Oh, yeah.
fantastic musician, and he does actually play acoustic guitar now.
Yeah.
But this is the first podcast where I've literally cried, and and it's
too.
not from sorrow.
My face hurts right now. Much like his knuckles did.
Yeah, I bet.
Jeez.
I bet. Oh,
Oh, man.
oh, so sorry, Chris. Yeah,
Chris,
I'm not
for you,
laughing
man.
at you because I know you're laughing right now. So you're laughing with us, right, Chris?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude,
Oh.
that was one thing I remember about playing with you guys. It was quite comical when you guys would have your disagreements.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, are you sure that this wasn't Oasis? Because it
Yeah.
sounds very.
It was funnier than Oasis, like because
Oh, yeah.
Chris and I we're not violent people or anything, so it
Right,
was all words. And people would actually laugh. They thought it was part of the show because he'd try and start an argument with me in front of people.
Right, right.
And as if we were just at his house, right? Meanwhile, there's like 100 people listening, and they're laughing along, and I'm trying to keep the show going. And then, so that's
It's the blatant honesty, eh?
that's right. That's right.
I was actually reminded of this when you and Chris did that Simon and Garfunkel show at the Yorkshire Rose.
That was one of the shows I put the most work into is the Simon and Garfunkel tribute show with Chris. And it was such a cool atmosphere. We had a basically professional keyboardist come and join us for Scarborough Fair and Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Yeah.
And I'd say Chris was at his like vocal peak then. He nailed Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Yeah.
All the Garfunkel harmonies. I really learned to properly pick a guitar.
Yeah.
Because we agreed to do the tribute show. And then I was like, holy shit, these songs are hard to learn. And so I had to learn to finger pick and everything. But yeah, we put so much work into that show, into the harmonies and everything. But yeah, that was definitely a highlight, that tribute show.
Definitely, Matt. Yeah, I could totally, like, when Chris was showing me that, I was just blown away.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you want to let the people know while we're here?
Well, that's a great question. We are releasing a new single in Spanish, which will be out at the end of the month, August 23rd, end of next month, which if we're watching the podcast now, you'll be able to hear it already on Spotify, called Baila Mi Gente. This is inspired by being in Cuba. We had a few phenomenal Cuban musicians contribute to it, a trumpet player and percussionist and drummer. And awesome musicians, and it's kind of a sing-along kind of dance tune, Baila Mi Gente, and then we'll be just releasing more singles over the fall and more stuff from the EP, and we'll, we wanted to do one Spanish language song for this. We have quite a few fans and followers that speak Spanish, so we thought we'd do a Spanish language song to kind of keep in the theme of our Vámonos Mi Chica album.
Cool. Yeah.
And then we got some other stuff coming down the pipe. We had Shane Clark, the drummer in the band, recorded on a few other tracks and did a phenomenal job with the rhythms. And so really excited. There's kind of like a folk rock tune with some banjo in it called Rolling Away, which is a little different from the other stuff we've done, which that's probably the song I'm most excited about.
Cool, yeah.
But we wanted to release these first two songs because they're a little bit more in the theme of what we've done before. And then this song, Rolling Away,
Yeah.
really excited for that release.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Man.
Yeah, because you were picking up the banjo. So is it you playing the banjo?
It's not me playing
I
on
see.
it.
I see.
We
Yeah,
happen to have the banjo in the studio, and then so Tyler played it
Okay, yeah.
while we were recording.
Awesome. Very cool. I love the banjo. That's going to be great. Jordy, you take over because you're good at moderating yourself.
I shouldn't be here.
I think you moderate yourself too much, actually.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't say anything.
I thought you were the silent business partner.
It's kind of what, like, why does it got me on camera here?
You're the silent investor. It's because of all the funds you've invested in the ivy in the studio.
$1,000 worth of fake ivy in here.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. What do you think about fake ivy in general?
I think it really adds to the ambiance in here, and it's less likely to take over your room or get you in trouble with the landlord as much as real ivy.
Very true. One thing I do find kind of ironic about it is, I'm going for a more natural, organic vibe in here,
Yeah.
but
Fake
it's
organic.
all plastic, which is actually the opposite of,
Fake organic.
natural
But
and organic.
it feels organic.
And
when
that's
when I
all
walk
that
in,
matters.
I don't walk in and think, oh, that's plastic ivy. It just adds to the ambiance.
Exactly. And I believe all this ivy was actually recycled from Indonesia. They pulled it out of the Indonesia Ocean.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so-
Yeah, I remember reading a blog about that.
Exactly, right? Yeah, because I'm very environmentally cautious.
And I guess by the time this podcast airs, we'll know if you passed the inspection, the building manager.
That is
inspection.
correct.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
that, James?
so I've been living in this apartment for about 12 years now. Done pretty much whatever the fuck I want all the time. So I decided to build this ginormous sound-conditioned studio booth. I decided to hang up all this shit everywhere without any sort of permission from my landlord because he's never been in here. But then literally the week after I finish doing everything in here, I get a notice saying he's coming in July 30th, which is in 3 days, for a full inspection. All right, John, so you wanted to play a song live for us here?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here, man. It's nice to reconnect. We'll definitely have to hang out again here when we're not on the air, so I don't have to censor myself so much. But yeah, thank you so much, man. Yeah, cheers.
Don't kick me.
All right, this song's called Me Hace Sentir. This is a song in Spanish about escaping the cold of Canada to the warm beaches of Mexico. If you don't speak Spanish, you can look out for a few words like cerveza, taco, and playa. Las palmeras, música ranchera, gente amigable, me siento amable. La cerveza, tacos de cabeza, sol tan fuerte, ya llegó mi suerte. Me hace sentir bien este lugar. Vengo de Canadá para escapar el frío y porque el pueblo está bien chido. De Puebla a Vallarta, Chiapas, Veracruz, la música jarocha me quita los blues. Me hace sentir bien este lugar. Me hace sentir bien, no puedo negar. Me quedo aquí por la playa y la mar. Vengo aquí a México de Canadá. Me quedo aquí por la playa y la mar. Me hace sentir bien este lugar. Fui en autobús de DF a Chiapas, pero en Jalapa ya perdí el mapa. La gente verdadera, la gente humilde, pasando por la sierra, olor de viento dulce, por las carreteras, sendas tortuosas, viajo solo por la tierra de los dioses. Tanta belleza escondida muchos años, fuera del turismo y de los americanos, me hace sentir bien este lugar. Me hace sentir bien, no puedo negar. Me quedo aquí por la playa y la mar. Vengo aquí a México de Canadá. Me quedo aquí por la playa y la mar. Me hace sentir bien este lugar. Viajo solo conociendo la gente, hablando su lengua, español solamente. Las caras, los niños jugando con los pollos. Oye, güey, te digo, el lugar es otro rollo. En la discoteca me quedé impresionado, bailando hasta la mañana sin ponernos cansados. Y después salimos a comer de los tacos. Vuelvo a casa para dormir un buen rato. Me hace sentir bien este lugar. me hace sentir bien, no puedo negar. Me quedo aquí por la playa y la mar. Vengo aquí a México de Canadá. Me quedo aquí por la playa y la mar. Me hace sentir bien este lugar. Las palmeras, música ranchera, gente amigable, me siento amable. La cerveza, tacos de cabeza, sol tan fuerte, ya llegó mi suerte. Me hace sentir bien este lugar. Me hace sentir bien este lugar. Me hace sentir bien este lugar. Muchas gracias, amigos.
The Poets Garden podcast is produced and recorded by me, James Donnelly, at the Poets Garden Studio in Mission, BC. You can subscribe and rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and almost everywhere else. You can also find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. To avoid potential legal action, the Poets Garden podcast is not sponsored by the Penny Coffee Shop, yet. So next time you're in Mission, stop by the Penny for a coffee or a gluten-free brownie and say you heard about them on the Poets Garden podcast. Thank you for listening.